All right, this is going to be a good one. It's the 2012 Kia Soul that I bought on Marketplace to replace my daily driver. She's a little bit rough. It was a beach vehicle. It was always at the beach. So I hope you got your tetanus shots, because this thing is a little bit rusty. I've got some brake noise all the way around here. It grinds. It also vibrates when I hit the brakes. It's really bad, so I'm doing pads and rotors on all four corners. Thought I'd bring you along today to see how this thing goes. This is a pretty easy car to do brakes on. There's a couple of weird quirks to it that I'll show you when we get to that. Otherwise, I'd say it's pretty easy for do-it-yourselfer to do. Unless your gun isn't strong enough to pull these bolts off. Let me get the big one. I'd say about 99% of the time if someone is improperly torquing their lug nuts, they're too tight. So I guess that's better than too loose, right? Whoa, that was tight. That was really tight. Oh yeah. Man. I don't have a 3/4 inch impact. Whoo! Probably best for me to put one of these little nuts back on here because I don't want this wheel to go flying. Oh, look at this. No wonder this thing came off. It's only got one little clip left. Here we go. Yeah, 53s always work. So if that gives you any indication as to what the rotors look like and the inside of the tire or the wheels, pretty crusty. Rotor screws, you've got one here and one there. Just helps with reassembly, but they're not just going to come right out. So I'm going to be using an impacting screwdriver. It's the right size for this screw, and I'm just going to smash on it a little bit. I'm doing this before I take the pads off so it won't turn quite as much. Not too bad, not too bad. Try this one. Oh yeah, came right out. I like this one. It's a JIS set. It's made by Vessel. They all work, but this one, look at that. See how it really grabs onto that screw? It's kind of cool. Put it back in there and kind of wiggle her out. So it doesn't slip and round those out. I can use those again. All right, so these caliper bolts are a 14 millimeter. Let's see what I can do to get these things off. That's not too bad. One down here. So we're going to pull these off first. I'm going to hang the caliper just on the car here. I'm not going to be replacing the caliper because I don't think it's bad. It's a bit rusty, crusty. Let me get a screwdriver. A bit rusty and crusty, but that's okay. It's not too bad. It's not as bad as these rotors, especially the back rotor. Actually, you're going to see that thing. We're gonna do the back brakes after this is done. So then you can see it. So I've just got this little hook. I'm gonna hang it up on the hook. That'll keep it out of our way. And we're not gonna be putting the weight on that hose right there. Let me grab a 17 and we'll pull this caliper bracket off. It looks like this, what you just saw fall was a piece of the nut holding on the ball joint. It's like that pinch bolt. So this thing is, like I said, it's been at the beach, which is the only place around here, around in Florida, where you're gonna find a rusty car. And it's almost as bad, honestly, as some of the stuff that I've seen from the Northeast, the Salt Belt. Probably not as bad, but stuff does fall apart around here. And yay, I bought the one that was from the beach. Whatever. It's 75,000 miles. Mechanically, it's in pretty decent shape. I've got one more thing to go. It's the transmission temperature sensor. It kind of shifts hard. It doesn't know what temperature the oil is sometimes. So I'm gonna fix that. That'll be in a future video. I've already done the electronics. The electronics were kind of funny. There's like 3 different problems that I found with it. Fixed all that in a video. You can watch that. See that scoring on there? It's from all this, see that rust ring? It's tearing up these brake pads. Okay, if you are going to be reusing this, don't hit it on the braking surface. Hit here and around the studs. I don't care, I'm replacing it, so I'm gonna hit it on the easy spot. Cover your ears, it's gonna be a little bit loud here. Oh yeah, now she's moving, come on. Yeah, not too bad. A little bit rusty in there, it's falling apart, leaving a lot of rust on my floor. Look at this hub though. Not too shabby, it's nowhere near as rusty as I thought it was gonna be. See how it's slowing down there? This is just like a little tiny die grinder. Doesn't make a lot of power, but I just picked this one up. 1 horsepower. Let's try this thing out. I want to see if I can go without stalling it, and might make it easier to clean. Oh yeah, check it out. Oh yeah, cleans up way better. I saved this one for last because I want you to hear a 1 horsepower air tool. I just want to compare it to this Cornwell that I normally use. This is just a regular weak sauce die grinder. Listen to how loud that is. See that? I can stall it out so easy with this tool. And this thing screams. It's a screamer and it's weak, so man, I'm really digging that 1 horsepower monster. But if you don't have a decent air compressor, this thing, any die grinder, is just gonna suck. It's gonna take too much air and you'll be just waiting for your compressor to go. Then we're gonna go ahead and push this piston back in. This is a sort of an expensive pushback tool. You can use all sorts of methods. I showed the 2 pry bar method where you put 2 pry bars together to push this in. That works if you don't have an expensive tool. A little bit of rust protection goes a long way, you know what I mean? All right, let's go take this hardware off here. And then what we're gonna do is just clean up the rust around here. Okay, it looks pretty clean. I'm gonna switch gloves here because it's gonna get a little messy. Now these pins are different. This pin is not gonna have this rubber anti-vibration piece on there. I don't know if you have to put them back where they go, but I always do. Because what do I know? I don't know better than Kia or whatever engineer did it. Probably did it for a reason. I think they usually go on the bottom, if I remember right. Not sure why though. I'm just gonna get, this is just silicone brake lubricant. It's pretty clean stuff, works good. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, it's nice and smooth. All right, so this is what I use for the pins. But what I'm trying to do is get rid of this purple stuff, the ceramic. Because we used to live in the desert and this stuff worked fine. But according to the Flat Rate Master, he says this purple stuff doesn't work well in hot and humid climates. He's from Atlanta, hot Atlanta, and we're here in Jacksonville area. So I'm putting it on non-critical brake parts like here. This just goes under the hardware to keep your brakes from getting all seized up with the rubber. Oh, someone had a serious backfire. So that's what I'm doing here. After this bottle runs out, I'm just gonna go to the, this stuff here for everything. Okay, we have hardware. Came with the brakes. Nice shiny new stainless steel. We're gonna go ahead and flip that around to the direction it goes. Pop them on here. like that. And that. And we can load up our pads here. I'm gonna put the pad with the squealer, this guy here, on the inside, and this will go outside. Okay, there you go. Fits in there pretty good. It should slide around real nice and easy. All right, so there's that. And we'll get this thing in here. The way this hardware is designed makes it a little bit tough to get the pad slipped in there, like the second side of the pad. So I'm gonna try and wiggle it in and pull right here, pull this hardware out of the way a bit, and hopefully that should just slide right in. See that piece right there? It was getting stuck on this bump out from the pad. So it was kind of tough to get it in there. Now she's in and she slides around good. Make sure she don't slide all the way off. All right, we're gonna leave that there and we're gonna grab the rotor. We're using these quiet cast rotors from Bosch. I like them because, let me get them out of the box here. They come all wrapped up, but they're also coated. See that nice coating on there? So there's no oil and slime on there to keep them from rusting. It's just that coating that you get. This makes it easier. Now let me line up my screw holes. They're right there. Cool. And these screws will just keep that rotor from bouncing around like that. Makes it easier to get the caliper back on. And that's it. It's not a structural piece of the car, and you want to be able to get it out in the future. Got some Loctite. Now these didn't originally come with Loctite. This is the caliper bracket bolt. But I like doing it anyway because that's just the kind of guy I am. Make sure that squealer is on the inside. Remember, we're gonna just slide these pads right over the rotor. Then we're gonna line up the holes just like that and grab a bolt. Don't grab the bolt by the washer because it's not attached. Ay. So these go in real easy by hand. I'm just gonna use my ratcheting wrench here, finish it up. We're going all the way, folks. Oh, it didn't click, hold on. Click. Use any kind of brake lubricant you like. I'm using the purple stuff, and I'm just gonna put a nice light coating around the caliper piston, the face of it here, not inside or anything silly like that. And then also here on the ears, just a wee dab. You see that? You see what just, oh, that's, I know what that is. I thought, uh-oh, we have a problem. No, that, let me dump it. That's brake clean. I had that kind of hanging upside down and it was catching the brake clean. Man, I thought we were gonna need a new, new caliper. I was like, oh man, somehow it's leaking brake fluid. It's not, we're good. Okay, these are those 14 millimeter caliper bolts. Click. And click. All right, when you're doing the back brakes, you've got a couple things. The parking brake to deal with, and there's a bolt issue, so I'll show you those. Make sure your parking brake is released, because we're gonna have to take that rotor off. I suppose I could donkey kick the thing or whatever, but this just seems a little bit more civilized. This is the reason why I was getting all that noise. Pretty gross. Really deep rust. This car had been sitting for a while at the beach, and so it's just nasty. The pads, they look almost brand new, but doesn't matter. I'm sure they look just as torn up as all the other ones. Let me find some steel to put some light on the subject here. See this little guy here, this little piece of rubber? That does not come with your new rotors. So we're gonna pull this out. This is just a plug that covers the hole to adjust the parking brakes. It's just a little rubber plug. So we're going to hang on to that and put that into the new rotor. And this also has those 2 rotor screws. These are all 14 millimeter. So I'm going to grab this and we're going to loosen up everything with 1 wrench. So that's pretty easy. So this is very similar to the front. So I'm not going to cover everything. I'm not going to waste your time with it. I'm just going to show you some of the things that are different back here compared to the front. Okay, this little guy. Yep, a little corroded. We'll get these pads off. These, man, like I said, these look almost brand new. 14 millimeter down here also on the caliper bracket. So that's cool. You can do everything with 1 wrench. On this guy, this is a little bit more rusty. Needs more wrenching. Now hold on just a second before you go anywhere. See these bolts? This one's longer, this one's shorter. You've got this bracket here in front of the upper bolt hole and no bracket down here. So always put the long one up top here to make room for that bracket. All right, ready? Oh, it's already. Yeah. Ooh, wee. Came loose. A lot easier, even though it looks nastier. Man. So there's your parking brake drum here. I am shocked. See how that coating looks almost brand new? It's amazing. This hub face also looks almost brand new. How do you get so much rust like it's gonna fall apart? But that looks good. I don't know, maybe they changed the bearing or something. Okay, I'm gonna do all the cleanup right now. I'll turn the camera off for that and we'll come back to put this all back together. We're ready for the new rotor. Don't get any of that on your parking brakes. There we go. Remember, we can adjust the parking brakes right through that hole, but right now we're gonna cap it with the old rubber cap. That's pretty good. Let me tighten those a little tiny bit, just to make sure this thing is, you know, even. Perfect. Okay, brackets all loaded up with the pads. And remember 2 things. Don't grab it by the washer, and the long bolt goes up top, this direction. We put it right up on there, over the rotor, and we'll get the bolt started on this. It's going a lot better than I thought it was going to go from all that rust that we saw in the beginning. I was thinking, man, it's going to be something. Click. Looks a lot better, even though, click, I touched it, now it looks all grimy. It looked good for just a second though, right? Let's get this thing worn. Slide it on down there. Put these bolts on. Got some more work to do to the car though. It's gonna be a separate video. Like I said, that transmission, I think it's a pretty common problem because it's got a TSB on it. It says to check, click, you got to check the wiring and stuff on it, and then otherwise you just replace the sensor. So we're going to do that. Get the tire back on. All right, so let me put these on. We'll torque them down once I get it down to the ground. I'll use the little impact to just kind of buzz these on, so that the car is safe to put back on the ground. And it is on the ground, but today is tomorrow because that transmission job, I finished it, but not until about dinner time, so I wanted to just end the day there. Now it's time to do the last thing. Make sure you do this before you set out on the road. Pump that brake gently, just a little bit. Don't go all the way to the floor, but just kind of pump it up about halfway, release, halfway and release until that brake pedal starts feeling more solid. Otherwise, if you try to back it out of the driveway without doing that, you're gonna go a lot farther than you think you will because you won't have any brakes. So make sure you do that, then you'll be good to go. After that, you're gonna need to drive it and bed in those brakes, kind of burnish them up a little bit before you get 100% stopping power. So give it about 100 miles before you do anything crazy like go drifting in your Kia Soul. If you want to see some more about that transmission or the electrical diagnostic videos that I've done on this car, you can click them over there, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.